reviews are in, and it's time to talk movies again. He's Todd Vandenberg, I'm Rob Steele, Lee Val is still in Tchaikovsky. And if you don't know what that means, go back and listen to the show from Sunday. We've got a couple movies to talk about this week because it's the weekend. You need to watch a movie this weekend because you got to keep the industry going. It's not like Donald Trump's actually fixed the economy. I'm just saying. So let's go back in time a bit for the first one, but because it's one you have to watch at home because you can't go see it in the theater, even though Todd went to see it in the theater this past week. Confused. Yeah, it took me a minute to wrap my head around this. You went to go see 2001 in a theater this past week?
I did go see 2001: A Space Odyssey just this past week. So yeah, I did go back 50 years in time because it's the 50th anniversary of one of the best science fiction. Yep, 1968. Wow. One of the best science fiction films of all time, 2001: A Space Odyssey, a Stanley Kubrick film, as the person sitting in front of me was loudly talking about throughout the film, and he would make various commentaries to his son or grandson, and it was like, please shut up at some point. But, Kubrick really did have an interesting career. He never really fit in any particular genre. It's like, yeah, we know that. We want to watch this movie. Would you please shut the hell up? Anyway.
His career will be just as interesting when the movie's done. Shut up.
No kidding. Anyway, 2001: A Space Odyssey, 1968. If you haven't seen it, it is, and you've mentioned it before on the show, it's a really interesting film because it deals with some just amazing concept. Basically deals about the birth and next evolution of mankind. Kind of big themes. It's also very slowly paced, obviously deliberately so because Kubrick knew what the hell he was doing. I don't really know.
Some would say slow, some would say stationary, but yes.
Yes. There are some segments which, and I love the movie, and even I think, wow, this is just really dragging at this point. I've probably seen the movie a dozen times, literally a dozen times. I saw it when it first came out because I'm old, and I did see it in the movie theater. And if anyone, for those of you who maybe just kind of know about it, they kind of know about two sequences. They know about the sequence when they open up with the proto-humans, who are basically apes, and basically they learn the use of tools, and the tool they learn is a weapon. They figure out how to use clubs, and that launches mankind literally as the ape man throws up the club, and it turns into a space vehicle. And the sequence is just absolutely beautiful. The music is amazing. It's funny because there's so much product placement in that segment when you first get to, the year 2001 in the film. And again, remember, this is them imagining 50 years in the future from 1968. The space shuttle is a commercial space shuttle. It's Pan Am. A lot of people listening to the show don't even know what the hell Pan Am was. Pan Am was the biggest airline at the time. And there are signs for Bell Telephone. No Bell Telephone anymore. It's AT&T. A lot of odd little product placement things, which is obviously deliberate.
but appropriate. I mean, they still had
appropriate. Yeah.
They still had Pan Am ads in Blade Runner, and Blade Runner 2, 049 had Pan Am ads in it.
An alternative universe, obviously. So 2001 is this literal journey of a person who, a monolith. I probably should mention the important thing. The monolith shows up, and that's what fosters the change for the ape men to learn to use tools. So that's one point in man's evolution. A monolith shows up on the moon. An investigator from NASA goes out to check out the monolith. Like, okay, why is this here? Why was this buried like 50 feet beneath the surface of the moon? They've uncovered it, and they're trying to figure out what's going on, and this piercing noise erupts. And it is literally a piercing noise in the movie theater. It really hurts your ears. Again, so to me, it pulls you into the film even more because you're experiencing exactly what those characters experience as they just almost drop to their knees in pain. That's about what you do in the movie theater because, oh my gosh, it's loud. And that signal, it's a signal which is telling them to go to Jupiter. So now there's a journey to Jupiter. And at this point, you're introduced to a very interesting character in the film. And it's a computer named HAL 9000. HAL 9000 did not ever read Isaac Asimov, as we were talking about last week on the show.
Yeah. Left out one of those pesky Asimov laws.
Yeah, and actually there are hints here, and it really you have to pay close attention, but it does tell you exactly why this happened, because there were problems with this mission, and one of the astronauts doesn't figure this out until he manages to get past HAL's issues. I'll just put it that way. And now you see, okay, this is why, because the mission is something totally different from what the astronaut thought it was. And then it gets trippy. And now he is not on Jupiter anymore for some reason, or maybe he is, but you don't know, because there's this bizarre sequence, which is just a light show, a laser light show in the theater, which runs for, maybe 15 minutes. It is absolutely amazing, and this is why people were in the 60s were getting high to go see 2001: A Space Odyssey, because you don't really need to be high to get tripped out by this sequence, because, man, it's just crazy. But I'm sure it helps. And then all of a sudden you're at the closing, and it looks like, okay, is he dying? Is he dead? Has he seen his own future? Maybe he's seen the future of man. I know that doesn't make a lot of sense, and it really won't when you're watching it, but you just have to kind of go with the flow and just feel how humanity changes throughout this movie. I know, it doesn't make a lot of sense, and that's just what the movie is. You have to bring your own thoughts to the film. He's not telling you, well, this is exactly what happens. He's telling you, interpret what you think happens here. You figure it out. It's kind of open, light way, and obviously deliberately. Hands down one of the best 5 science fiction films ever. And a lot of it, the imagery is just amazing. And that's despite, and I absolutely admit, the pace is very slow. At times it crawls. The acting, honestly, could have been somewhat better. But it doesn't matter, because it's an absolutely amazing film. I was lucky enough to see it at an IMAX, and it'll be back around at some point. And unfortunately, it was one of those half-assed movie theater complex IMAXs, not an actual one, which, so the screen is not 70 by 90 or whatever it really should be. But it was still a big screen, and the sound was excellent. So 2001: A Space Odyssey, it'll roll around again at some point. Or if you haven't seen it, and I'm sure you have a nice big screen, scooch up closer and really pump up your sound bar and get your surround sound going, because it's an awesome experience. 2001: A Space Odyssey, and it's actually 50 years old, which is just incredible.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's that old. That's
the thing. The effects look... this looks like a movie that could have been done now. That's how good the special effects are. And the model work. It absolutely looks like, oh, this just came out. That's pretty cool. At no point do you look at it and say, wow, it's like they're kind of cheesy. I've seen better video games. No, this is done 50 years ago and still looks absolutely fresh.
What I'm wondering is, when they re-released it, did they redo the effects like they did with the Star Trek Blu-rays?
To the best of my knowledge, that is nope.
Okay.
This is it.
Just checking.
This is Douglas Trumbull's original work, and it's just amazing. And a lot of the special effects work were done by Kubrick himself, because Kubrick, the man,
he's good like that.
The man knew what the hell he was doing with a camera. That's the best I can say. So, pretty amazing.
So your movie had lots of good technical things where they got things right. Mine didn't.
Ooh, that hurts.
Yeah. And you know what? Thing is, it didn't really matter that much. I watched Ocean's 8 this week, which kind of goes along with the gender swapping. That's not right. Gender balancing stuff we talked about on Sunday. Ocean's 8. Did you like Oceans 11, 12, and 13? Well, you'll like this one too, I guess. Apart from the Star Wars numbering system, 11, 12, 13, 8, crack, thank you. There were a few inconsistent... yes, it's the same we've got a heist to do movie that 11, 12, and 13 were. but there were a few inconsistencies, like Sandra Bullock's character. And I did not get this. She starts off in prison, gets out of prison after doing 5 and a bit years. But the flashback to show how she got into prison was 10 years ago.
Long trial.
Which...
U.S. Justice System,
wow.
baby.
4 and a bit years of trial.
Yeah,
wow.
That doesn't make a lot of sense, no.
No, and then there's the stuff that geeks like me will point out. When Rihanna, because she's a hacker, got into some guy's computer and was watching what he was doing through the cam on the guy's computer, she was watching it on what her computer called a JPEG file. JPEG files are still images and not video, and yet somehow she was getting video through it. No.
Yeah.
No, that's a simple thing.
That's pretty basic.
Fix it. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But anyway, despite the little niggly things that make me go, wrong, it was actually, it was a decent heist film. To me, none of the characters were particularly likable. Unlike and I'm not trying to be gender biased on this. Some of the characters in Ocean's 11 I actually liked because they were likable. I don't think the closest I think we got to a likable character was, and her name just escaped, married to Tim Burton and in all of his movies.
Helena Bonham Carter.
Thank you. See, he's good at that. I'm picturing her going, I killed Sirius Black, and that would be the wrong film. Helena Bonham Carter, to me, was the most likable character. The rest of them were just kind of, oh, look, we're there. And we've got jobs to do, and here's what they are. Oh, okay, well, off you go then. It was set up good. It had a good story. There were a couple of cameos that I thought were cute, like from the original Ocean films, Elliot Gould showed up. And I'm going to mispronounce your name, and I apologize, dude. Saobo Kin, possibly. The little acrobatic dude, whose character's name I've forgotten as well, but that's okay. He's in it. He had a great cameo. The weirdest cameo, although it was good, was Anne Hathaway's. Now, I know some of you were thinking, Rob, Anne Hathaway is a main character in the movie. Yes, but she also had a cameo in the movie as someone else. And you kind of have to... Now it's out on home, for home use now, so I was able to do something you can't do in a theater, which is rewind. And I did, because I went, hang on a minute, was that also Anne Hathaway? Why, yes, it was. That was cute.
How funny.
But yeah, there were a couple of little things with the story, but you know what? Overall, it was a fun film. So if you want to watch a film where you're not going to give a rat's ass about any of the characters, but still have fun with the film because it's kind of a fun topic in a way. Not that I'm, advocating the use of criminal activity as entertainment or something. Anyway, I don't promote crime, but I'll give this movie at least a thumb up or something. It was fun, and now it's available just about everywhere to be streamed to your house without having to leave.
How lovely.
So, yeah. If you, especially if you liked 11, 12, and 13, you'll like 8 because Common Core math exists. That's just so bizarre. Anyway, third movie for the show?
Third movie for the show, indeed.
I have no other segue for that. It's, 11, 12, 13, 3, 8.
You could say
9.
that Anne Hathaway is something of a prodigy because she's been in films for quite a while.
Ah, there you go. That would work.
That would work. Now we can't use it. But anyway, yeah, there is a film which came out in 2017, and some things actually show it as being a 2018 release. I think that's because it's on Netflix in 2018. And no, this is not actually...
But the band broke up in 2005.
Yeah, there you go. Not actually a Netflix production, and it's actually even on Amazon. Anyway, it's called Prodigy. Came out in 2017. It's I'd say it's a thriller. It's listed as a drama sci-fi thriller. Okay. It's also a comedy and a musical. No, it's not. It's neither of those two. This is it's apparently set in just in current times. Some aspects seem a little trippy, but yeah, I'd say it's because in current times. There is a psychologist who runs into an old friend, and she says, "Hey, I got a case for you." He says, "Okay, here's the dossier." So he comes in. He has no idea why he's coming in. He's just coming in to examine this person. They bring him to this room, and this person is being held on a military base in with extreme caution. It's a locked room. It's not quite a cell, but I mean, it's very secure. It goes into the secure facility, and they've got a two-way mirror. A one-way mirror. You know what I'm talking about. They got the thing where you can look through, and they can't look through on the other side. He goes in, and there's this girl who's probably 11 years old, who is strapped down Hannibal Lecter style, and they're telling him, don't let her out of the restraints, blah blah blah. So you do not let the subject, I should say, don't let the subject out of the restraints. Do not touch the subject. Do not give the subject any. So you're picturing, oh my God, this is going to be some huge psychotic beast. You're thinking maybe it's like Juggernaut which would have been awesome in Deadpool 2.
I was just thinking, is it Juggernaut? No,
there you go. And you walk in, and there's this little red-headed girl. She's 10 or 11 years old. It's what the? And he comes in, and he just has this very matter-of-fact conversation where then she's very, very bright, and she's making observations about him, talking about, obviously, your wife didn't dress you to leave the house in that outfit, and blah, 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 blah. Very sarcastic, very combative. And he comes out of the session, and they're talking about the situation. He still hasn't even read the file. He has no idea why she's under these restraints. He figures there must be some good reason, but, he's not going to push it. It continues as it goes along, and she's combative in other ways, too. And then turns out he manages to piss her off. And, she starts moving chess pieces because they're playing chess. And she moves them with her mind because she's still under restraint. And then he goes, "Oh, that's interesting." He didn't even read the file, so he didn't know that she had this capability. It goes on. They're playing this chess match. He's trying to figure out what her issue is. They're hoping to unlock her potential as a weapon. Basically, they're trying to get him to figure out a way to control her. Not with drugs or anything, but just break her down to get to the point of where she'll pay attention and do what they want her to do. Clearly, this little girl is not going to do that. Turns out her mother has passed away, and turns out that she killed her mother. So that's why they want to use her.
Oops.
Because she is a stone cold murderer, has no remorse for it whatsoever, and she has these wonderful psychic powers, and she flips the table over completely. She does much bigger things as the film goes along. So it's this battle of wits between the psychologist, who is really trying to help this girl, and the girl, who doesn't want to be helped and doesn't want to do anything for anybody, and then the people who send him into the room because they want him to do the job they sent him in to do, not to help her, but to fix her so they can use her. So it's this three-way going back and forth and back and forth and around and around and around. It's really, really well done. It is fairly low budget, but that's okay, because if they'd gone overboard with special effects, you'd have lost the story. And so I was really happy that they just stuck with good acting, a good script, the battle of wits between the two of them that continues to escalate as it goes along, and then it reaches a nice crescendo and, now you know what happened. And it's a really, really well done movie. It probably made $18 at the box office, because I don't even remember when this came out, but it's really well done. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that we'd like to find on the show, because little films that pretty much no one ever heard of that are definitely worth watching. I would have been really happy if I'd paid money to go see this at the movie theater. I would have walked out, wow, that was a good flick. To find it on Netflix or Amazon, you're already paying for it. Excellent. Absolutely recommend Prodigy. Again, Prodigy 2017, starring Richard Neal and Savannah Lyles as the little girl. She is really, really good. A lot of times you have child actors that basically you think they're 30-year-olds in a 10-year-old body, which does not work. She's very convincing as a very bright child. So it does not come off at all as feeding adult lines. It works perfectly. She's excellent. So I really expect to see a lot more of Savannah Lyles as time goes on. Highly recommend Prodigy. And this is a movie you can see. And unlike 2001, where it really helps to see it on the gigantic screen, which of course you can see 2001, but Prodigy, highly recommended. So we actually have 3 movies that you should watch for a change. How nice.
Yeah. And actually, it's very weird because you didn't tell me until this morning which movie you were doing.
Right.
And Prodigy was actually mentioned to me earlier this week by Elle and Bill from The Witching Hour. Who said, you need to see this. It's cool. You'll like it. I'm like, oh, okay. I just haven't gotten to it yet.
Yeah, it really is good.
And now that you've brought it up, so if you like any of the other shows in the Coil Entertainment Network, apparently it's something worth seeing. So there we go.
There you go.
And that pretty much wraps up the review show. So we will be back on Sunday. It could be Lee will be back from Tchaikovsky. We don't know yet. And we'll see you Sunday with whatever happened in movie and entertainment news. So until then, go see a movie.
That's pretty much it. Pretty much it. Pretty much it.